So this lesson is going to be a little bit weird because there's really not much of an example to show. We just kind of have to talk about positive and negative numbers and words that tell you that numbers are positive or negative. Right? So for example, in the worksheet that you're going to do, it talks about being at 39,000 feet. So because it just says 39,000 feet, we know that that's positive. Because in order for it to be negative, it would have to say below sea level. But then one of the next things it tells us is that our plane descended. So our plane descended, so it went down. And now we're at 2,000 feet. Well, because it's telling us that we are at 2,000 feet, that means that that 2,000 is actually positive because that's where we're at. If they had said that we descended 2,000 feet, so for example, we were at 39,000, and then we descended 2,000, that would be a negative 2,000 because that's what we did. And then we would end up at 37,000 feet. So again, same word, but because we used it in a different context or a different order, it changes the positive or negative. Another example of this, so when we're talking about a bank account, so in a bank account you can see your transactions and you can see your balance. So a very rough example of this is, let's say that on Monday on our bank account the transaction says we went to Nike and we spent $325. Well, we would see a negative and negative $300. So we would see a negative 300. That negative meaning we spent the money, or we debited the money out of the account. On Tuesday, we got our paycheck, and that was $500. So in this case, we would have a positive 500 that went into the account. So since it's positive, I earned or I deposited the money. So negative told me I spent, debit, withdrew. It came out of the account because transactions are what's happening. So then if on Wednesday I saw a 0, we have to think about what this 0 would mean. This 0 doesn't mean that I have no money. This 0 means that nothing happened on Wednesday. I didn't take any money out and I didn't put any money in. All right. So then now what happens is we have a balance at the bottom that changes with every transaction. So on Monday, it would have read negative 3. If I didn't have any other money in the account, on Monday it would have read negative 300 because I spent $300 and we're pretending that nothing else happened. On Tuesday, it would have read $200 because I deposited that 500, which got me out of the negatives. It got me out of owing money, and now I have $200. And then on Wednesday, since nothing happened, I would still have $200. Let's say on Thursday we went grocery shopping and we had to spend $200 on those groceries for the next week or so. Okay, so I spent 200, spent coming in that negative. So now my balance is at 0. This 0 though does mean that I don't have any money. So this 0 right here, tells me nothing happened. And actually, I'm going to type that because my pen is a little rough. So this 0 is telling me nothing happened. So no debit and no deposit. But down here, this means I have no money. So I don't owe, but I also don't have any money. So even though we see 0 in the bank account in two different places, we do see them in two different places, they mean two different things. So you really have to pay attention to the context clues and use them to help you decide what 0 means. So on your practice work, you're going to identify those positive numbers and you are going to circle them in green and then underline the word that tells you that it's a positive number. And then you're going to also do the reverse. So if it's negative, circle it in red and underline the word that makes you know that it's negative. And then on the back, you're going to take a look and it's going to ask you, what does 0 mean in those given situations? So you have to take a look and think, what does 0 mean when we're talking about elevation? All right. Make sure that you finish up your practice and you staple it together with your playlist and that you turn it in at the end of class.